everyone, welcome to our channel where my dad and I play games, old and new, and give our thoughts on how they appeal to different generations. Taking a quick break from our normal RPGs, today we're taking a look at Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the newest entry in the Zelda franchise, this time with our beloved princess in the forefront. There was a lot of excitement about this when it was announced, and it's one I've been really hyped up for. This time, my little brother's even joining in the fun. So let's see if Zelda rises triumphantly or if she struggles to stand on her own.
The game opens with the footage we've seen in the pre-release showings. Link shows up, fights Ganon to save Zelda, but at the last minute, a rift appears, pulls in Link, who, with its last effort, fires an arrow at the crystal holding Zelda, freeing her. Upon returning home, Zelda watches her father, General Right, and Minister Left, which, by the way, I love seeing Nintendo just be weird and fun, but she stands by and watches them get pulled into a rift. But out pops up her father and the Minister and the General, who quickly have her tossed in the dungeon for creating rifts. Here, Zelda is greeted by Tri and gifted the Tri Rod, enabling her to create echoes, and together they set out to close the rifts, save the king, and Hyrule. We find ties to all the other groups we've come to love in Zelda games, like the Zoras, Gorons, Gerudo, and others, as well as some great lore on Link. Fans have been calling for Zelda to get her own spotlight, and Echoes of Wisdom does just that. Funny enough, this time she serves as our silent protagonist. As such, she doesn't get a ton of character development, but I do appreciate how the game leans into Zelda and her wisdom. She has brief moments of fighting, but most of the game focuses around creativity and diplomacy with other groups. It hits just the right note for the character.
It was really cool to play as Zelda for a change. I really like that they still give Link some shine though. It's Zelda's show, but Link still gets to play a bit part, and he plays it really well. He's not pushed aside, he's still a hero, and he has some really cool scenes. The explanation as to why he's silent was neat, and kind of funny that they decided to explain it at all.
Outside of those two, there's a small cast of characters from the Minister General, King, and random people we meet and help. But the only other main character would be Tri, the little ball fairy that helps us and serves as the only real talkative voice in the game. The exposition and driving of the narrative comes from Tri.
Yeah, she's basically the Navi of this game.
Who?
Oh god, I have failed you as a parent.
Right, anyway. Tri is innocent and doesn't understand many words, but it tries. Hehe.
Dork.
Hey, don't blame us, blame the jokes, they write themselves. Anyway, it tries to understand, and it just wants to help us close the rifts and bring peace to the world.
Anyway, it's a small but colorful cast, and I personally loved the lack of voice acting. It felt like a real throwback, so good job, team. From a gameplay perspective, this is a classic top-down style Zelda game that focuses heavily on puzzle solving. As you explore the world, you find objects such as jars, clouds, cubes of water, and of course, beds or monsters. By defeating the monster or finding the object, you can learn to create an echo of it. Each echo has a cost from 1 to 6. Initially, you have a limit of 3, but throughout the game, that expands up to 6. Each dungeon also has a theme, such as fire for the volcano or ice for the mountain, and generally speaking, the echoes you need to beat the boss will be found within that level.
The puzzles were great. I really liked how all of us could be sitting here and find different ways to solve the very same puzzle. I do wish it was a bit more universal though. There were a lot of echoes we used for that dungeon and then almost never used again. By the end, I think we've had like 5 or 8 echoes we used primarily.
True. There's also some real issues with the interface. The echo sorting menu is just bad. You have to scroll through everything or go to the notebook to find what you want. It's really not a great setup. I also had a lot of issues with the targeting. Locking onto enemies to bind them so they couldn't move around, letting your monsters attack, was a real pain, especially later in the game when you have multiple enemies or echoes on the screen at one time. I also found that I'd be trying to lock onto a specific item, and Zelda would continually target something the entirely different direction. It's easy enough to toggle through things, but still, it was really annoying.
Those were all annoying, Dad. Personally, I had some issues with the controller layout, like the echo inventory being the right button on the D-pad, when I'm kind of used to that being like the pause, or it being the up button. I keep pressing the wrong button, and that was a big pain. This could just be a me thing, but I think the option to map the controls would have been really cool. If you were to look up the word adorable in a dictionary, it really should just show this game. The top-down chibi style art is pitch perfect. Zelda emotes wonderfully, moves gracefully, the echoes are super cute, the characters we interact with all look fantastic. The world is lush and colorful, the screen never has too much going on. I found a lot of games lately have to have visual noise just going on all the time. This game bucks that trend. Everything graphically is neat and clean. There are only a few instances where I was overwhelmed by what was on screen. Most of that was because I had too many echoes going on. I also really love the music.
One note that I don't think you'd really get, son, is that some of the music here is just remix versions or different takes on music from other Zelda games. The final battle, for example, has a remix theme from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It was such a wonderful nod to these old classics. The sound effects were also really well done. From the sizzle of a fire zoll near some ice to the crack of a sword against shield, it's not groundbreaking by any stretch, but it was a really solid job by the sound crew. While it wasn't my first ever video game, The Legend of Zelda was the first game I got to pick out. I remember my mom taking us to Toys R Us, and my brothers and I could not agree on what game to get, so Mom let us each pick one. I don't remember what they picked out, but I grabbed Zelda. So seeing our beloved princess get her shine was a real blast. I also loved that the game let her be the hero without minimizing Link. He's not present in much of the game, but his persona looms throughout. I mean, heck, one of the main quests is just to find Link. He also gets several moments in the game that are legit fist-pumping celebratory things.
It was a really fun time playing as Zelda. My only other experience with Zelda was Breath of the Wild, so this was a real departure from that. I liked the different approaches to solving puzzles. Dad would do it one way, and I would do it very differently. It helps keep things from getting stale. One issue I had was the promotional videos made reverse bind out to be so much a bigger deal than it was. Like, bind this monster and it'll make getting around a lot easier. I just didn't find that as the case, and rarely used it, because the monster's pathing was so bad. The birds will fly anywhere except where you want to go.
I really liked how the echoes had different costs depending on what it was. Some stronger ones cost 3 or more, while others you could just spam a little army. At first, you could get 3 charges for try to make echoes out of, but it goes up. Also, at certain levels, certain echoes just cost less.
I'm going to have to go with a 7.5 out of 10. It was a fine game. It just wasn't one that I could find myself sticking with for a long time. A lot of issues Dad mentioned in gameplay drove me nuts as well. Echoes don't always behave the way you want them to, but when they do, you can pull off some really cool stuff. It's like this video I've seen from Tears of the Kingdom, where players can just find stupid creative ways to solve puzzles. I saw a guy use those tornado monsters and a bed to scale a mountain, which is hilarious.
This is my first Zelda game, and I really liked it. I'd say it's a 8 out of 10. I really liked the game, particularly how there's a lot of ways to solve each puzzle, and the large number of echoes we could play with.
Ultimately for me, my heart wants to go high as I love the art, the music, the approach, and seeing Zelda get her own game was great. But I'm going to have to agree with Vincent here and go with 7.5 out of 10. The game is on the easier side, the targeting was a mess, the ecosystem really needed another go-over, and the AI for the echoes is really bad. For example, the mages you get will frequently teleport behind rocks and try to shoot through it. Melee monsters will whack at bosses and not attack the weak spots. There are things you can do to work around this, but it's really annoying. On top of that, there were some control issues, like making a cloud bridge and hitting the jump button, and Zelda just standing there to fall through and the cloud poofs away, or the Joy-Con drifting and Zelda running off into the lava. As I said on Twitter, this is a very good but flawed entry into the storied franchise. I enjoyed my time with it, and I really hope Grezzo gets another shot, as I believe they're really on something here. It just needs a bit of cleaning up.
So those are our thoughts about The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Did you enjoy the princess's journey, or are you stuck in a rift? Whatever your thoughts, please let us know. And as always, could you support us with a like, comment, and subscribe? Thanks everyone!